Welcome to today's deep dive into one of the most distinctive groups of crabs, the spider crabs. From rocky shallows and kelp forests to the depths of the continental slope, spider crabs are masters of disguise, blending into their surroundings with shells adorned in algae, sponges and other living camouflage. Far from just slow-moving scavengers, they are a remarkable and diverse branch of the crab family tree, a lineage shaped by disguise, specialized anatomy, and a life spent creeping across the sea floor. Their diversity ranges from species barely larger than a coin to giants with the longest leg span of any arthropod, and they've evolved a mix of patience, armor, and opportunism that makes them perfectly suited to the benthic world. Today we'll be exploring what sets spider crabs apart from other crabs, where they fit in crustacean evolution, the traits they share, and the extraordinary diversity within this group. If you'd like to learn more, check out the document in the description with research papers and image credits. And one last note. I promise every photo in this video has an animal in it, but some spider crabs are so well camouflaged you might need a moment to spot them. To understand where spider crabs belong, we first need to zoom out and look at their place in the wider crustacean family tree. Spider crabs may be crustaceans, but the definition of crustacean has been revolutionized in the last decade as we've uncovered more about their evolutionary relationships. Now redefined as Pancrustacea, the group is divided into three main branches. The earliest branch is Oligostraca, a superclass of tiny crustaceans no larger than a millimeter, including sea shrimp, fish lice, and tongue worms. The second branch is Epialtidae. While it contains several traditional crustacean groups, like horseshoe shrimp, fairy shrimp, and remipedes, it also includes the hexapods, the insects and their closest relatives. For many years, insects were considered distant cousins of crustaceans, but genetic studies have shown they nest right within the crustacean clade. In other words, insects are the terrestrial descendants of aquatic crustaceans, with both groups included under the umbrella of Pancrustacea. That brings us to the third lineage, Multicrustacea. This is the group you're probably most familiar with when you think of crustaceans: crabs, lobsters, shrimp, and their kin. Though these branches of Pancrustacea are diverse and very different in many ways, they share key features: hardened exoskeletons, jointed limbs, and segmented bodies. There are also subtle similarities, like brain structures and genetic markers, which reveal their shared evolutionary heritage. Multicrustacea is further divided into three major groups. Copepoda contains the copepods, tiny planktonic crustaceans that play a huge role in aquatic food webs. Lecostraca includes barnacles, those familiar crustaceans that attach themselves to rocks, ships, and even whales. But it's the Melicostraca that we will be looking at today. As the second largest class of Pancrustacea, only behind the insects, it is a diverse group. They typically have 19 body segments arranged into the head, thorax, and abdomen, with the head and thorax often fused beneath a protective carapace. This consistent body plan has supported an extraordinary range of adaptations and lifestyles, from swift swimmers to slow, heavily armoured bottom dwellers. Within Melicostraca, there are many different lineages, but from here we will zoom into the true crabs. True crabs belong to the group called Brachyura, characterized by their distinctive body shape. They have a compact, almost square or oval carapace, with a reduced abdomen folded tightly underneath their body. This design gives them a sturdy, low-profile shape that helps protect their vulnerable underside and helps them move efficiently in complex environments like rocky shores and reefs. This body plan actually leads to one of the most fascinating stories in crustaceans: carcinization. This is the process by which various crustacean lineages have independently evolved into a crab-like body form. Crabs, of course, have this body type, but so do more distantly related crustaceans, like king crabs, hermit crabs, or porcelain crabs. Though these are not true crabs, their strikingly similar form is a textbook example of convergent evolution, where different groups arrive at similar solutions to environmental challenges. For these crustaceans, the compact, flattened shape has several advantages. They reduce the animal's profile, making it harder for predators to grasp or crush them. The folded abdomen protects their vital organs with the shield-like carapace. Finally, it helps with moving around, whether crawling across coral reefs or squeezing through tight spaces. The body shape allows them to be adaptable and mobile. As fascinating as carcinization is, spider crabs are true crabs that have evolved the basic crab body plan in a very different direction. Spider crabs are easily recognized by their long, slender legs that can sometimes stretch several times the length of their bodies. These legs are used to help them navigate complex underwater landscapes, such as rocky reefs, kelp forests, or coral beds. Their greatest advantage is in efficiently covering this terrain, allowing them to find food and evade predators more effectively. However, the legs also have some other, more specialized functions. They provide enormous reach, allowing spider crabs to probe deeply into rock crevices and narrow spaces, giving them access to food unavailable to many other animals. This reach also gives them a tactical advantage when capturing or manipulating prey, reducing the risk of injury from pincers or defensive spines. Their carapace is typically triangular or heart-shaped, and often adorned with bumps, spines, and hooked setae, bristle-like hairs essential for their camouflage. While the carapace's texture often mimics the rocky ocean floor, spider crabs enhance this disguise through a fascinating behavior known as decorative camouflage. This involves actively attaching or incorporating external materials onto their bodies to blend seamlessly with their environment. Spider crabs collect algae, sponges, bryozoans, and even small sessile animals, affixing them to their hooked setae to create a living disguise. They do this quite deliberately, using their pincers to pick up and remove the objects from substrates. Once collected, they bring the material to their mouthparts to orient and shape it, before placing it carefully onto their carapace. Remarkably, many of these attached organisms can regenerate and continue growing while on the crab's shell. This camouflage primarily helps them to avoid predators, especially from fish and octopus. It may also aid in ambushing prey, though since most spider crabs primarily consume algae and detritus, this function is less significant. In some cases, the attached organisms are chemically defended or unpalatable, providing an additional chemical shield that further deters predators. Spider crabs are omnivorous and opportunistic feeders, reflecting their adaptable lifestyle. They scavenge dead organic matter and detritus from the seafloor, playing a vital role in nutrient recycling. Many species also consume algae and plant material, and many actively hunt small benthic invertebrates such as polychaete worms, mollusks, and other crustaceans. Some even feed on sessile organisms like sponges and bryozoans. For reproduction, spider crabs follow the typical life cycle of other crabs. Females carry fertilized eggs beneath their abdomens, often numbering over 1 million, which hatch into planktonic larvae that drift in the water column. After about 10 days, these larvae settle on the seafloor and metamorphose into juveniles. Like other crustaceans, spider crabs grow larger throughout their lives by periodically molting their exoskeleton. With these shared traits and fascinating behaviors in mind, let's now turn our attention to the incredible diversity within the spider crab superfamily, Majoidea, exploring their evolutionary branches, unique adaptations, and the families that make up this remarkable group. The superfamily Majoidea represents one of the most diverse and ecologically fascinating families of crabs in the world's oceans. Spanning a wide range of habitats, from sunlit coral reefs to the dark depths of the continental slope, these crabs have radiated into many lineages with distinctive adaptations and life histories. Though the exact evolutionary relationships within Majoidea remain partly unresolved, molecular phylogenetic studies have clarified many relationships, and that framework guides our exploration today. Before reaching the modern day, there is a prehistoric family of spider crabs. Known from the Cretaceous, Priscinachidae is an extinct family, recognized only from fragmentary carapace fossils. These crabs likely inhabited shallow coastal waters and offer valuable insight into the early evolution of spider crabs, sharing key carapace features with their modern relatives. Among modern spider crabs, there are now 7 widely recognized families, but this has undergone some large changes over the years, and it is likely to be revised further as more information becomes known. The most basal of these is Oregoniidae. They are often overlooked, but are a captivating example of mostly cold water spider crabs that occupy a range of habitats, from shallow coastal waters to deeper continental shelf zones. Notably, the genus Hyas includes the well-studied great spider crab, Hyas aroneus, widespread in the North Atlantic. These spider crabs are opportunistic feeders, scavenging everything from algae and detritus to small invertebrates, a diet that sets them apart from many other spider crabs, which tend to specialize more narrowly. Unlike many of their tropical relatives, Oregoniidae species generally decorate their shells less extensively. Decoration is mostly limited to juveniles and occasionally females. Adults tend to be less reliant on the decoration. This difference likely reflects their colder, often deeper habitats, where the algae and sessile animals they would use for camouflage are less abundant. The family also has a rare deep water example with the split-nosed crab, Oregonia bifurca. It can reach depths of 500 meters and has adaptations for this environment, including dense, brightly colored setae, those hair-like structures, and yet it shows less of the decorating behavior. It likely also has reduced vision, relying instead on chemical cues for navigation. Behaviorally, many higher species show seasonal migrations, moving from shallow waters in the summer to deeper areas in the winter, a pattern likely connected to reproduction and food availability. Morphologically, they tend to have a more oval carapace and a pair of slender, pointed, horn-like structures at the front of the shell, a feature that helps distinguish them from other spider crab families. All of these traits, their habitat flexibility, opportunistic diet, and unique morphology, make Oregoniidae a fascinating window into the adaptability and evolutionary breadth of spider crabs. Following the Oregoniidae, we come to Majidae, the true spider crabs, one of the most diverse and visually distinctive families of spider crabs. With up to 300 species divided between 40 to 50 genera, this family showcases a remarkable range of ecological adaptations and geographic distributions. Majidae species are predominantly found in warmer, shallower waters from rocky reefs, seagrass beds, and coral environments. They typically have a more triangular carapace with longer, slender legs, which helps them maneuver through complex habitats. This family is famed for their elaborate decoration behaviors. Many species adorn themselves with algae, sponges, and even small animals to their hooked setae, effectively turning themselves into moving pieces of the surrounding environment. This camouflage provides excellent protection from predators, and in some species it also serves as a form of chemical defense. A well-known example is the European spider crab, Majoidea. It can reach impressive sizes and is often decorated with seaweed and sessile animals. Its long rostrum and spiny carapace make it instantly recognizable. Ecologically, Majidae crabs play vital roles in the ecosystems as both grazers and scavengers, contributing to the health of benthic communities by controlling algal growth and recycling nutrients. Together, their behavioral adaptations, habitat preferences, and morphological specializations mark Majidae as a cornerstone family within the spider crabs, showcasing the evolutionary innovation and ecological diversity of this group. Majidae is believed to be most closely related to the family Inachidae, or the stilt crabs. This group stands out for the strikingly elongated bodies and limbs of many of its species. Inachidae species typically have very long, slender legs, sometimes several times the length of their bodies, which gives them a spidery, delicate appearance. Their carapaces are often more rounded or oval compared to the triangular shape seen in Majidae. Unlike the heavily decorated Majidae, many Inachidae species rely more on their slender morphology and cryptic colours for camouflage, typically using decoration more sparingly, though this varies with the species. Inachidae species are typically small, with few being as well studied as Leach's spider crab, Inachus phalangium. This small crab is native to the coastal waters of the Northeast Atlantic and the Mediterranean Sea. It embodies many typical traits of the family, a small, oval carapace, and remarkably long, slender legs. It decorates itself more sparingly than some other species, typically using fragments of hydroids or bryozoans to blend in with its surroundings. Members of Inachidae occupy a broad range of habitats, from shallow reefs to deep continental shelves, often favouring rocky substrates where their long legs allow them to navigate complex environments. Their unique body plans and ecological roles highlight the adaptability of spider crabs and have allowed families like Inachidae to flourish across a range of habitats. Next, we come to Inachoididae, a family characterized by slender, spindly species with extremely long, delicate legs and a narrow, often elongate carapace. This gives them a graceful, almost fragile appearance. For example, the arrow crabs in the genus Stenorhynchus have sharply pointed rostrums and legs that look like fine arrows. These crabs are primarily found in tropical and subtropical coral reefs and rocky habitats, where their slender limbs allow them to navigate complex environments with ease. They often rely on cryptic coloration and modest decoration, attaching bits of algae or small sessile animals without the heavy camouflaging seen in some other spider crab families. While less studied than some other groups, Inachoididae show fascinating adaptations to reef life and represent another example of the diverse forms spider crabs can take. Next, we move to Macrocheiridae, probably the most famous family of spider crabs, thanks to the iconic Japanese spider crab, Macrocheira kempferi. This species holds the record for the largest leg span of any crab, stretching up to 3.8 meters or almost 12.5 feet across, making it a true giant of the ocean. Despite its intimidating size, the Japanese spider crab is a gentle scavenger, inhabiting the cold, deep waters of the Pacific around Japan's continental shelf. It is distinctive enough to stand alone as the only species in Macrocheiridae alive today. As of 2016, there are 5 known prehistoric species placed in this family, which lived during the Eocene and Miocene periods. But with only the Japanese spider crab remaining, it is the last of a strange lineage, perfectly suited to its current habitat. Japanese spider crabs are adapted to these deeper environments, typically inhabiting depths between 50 and 600 meters. Their morphology reflects this lifestyle, with extremely long legs and a robust but relatively compact carapace. Unlike many of their shallow water relatives, they tend to decorate their bodies less extensively, relying more on their size and tough exoskeletons for protection. Their diet is opportunistic, feeding on carrion, detritus, and small invertebrates, playing an important role in deep benthic ecosystems by recycling nutrients. The Japanese spider crab showcases their incredible size range and ecological versatility of spider crabs, illustrating how this group has evolved to thrive from shallow reefs to the deep ocean floor. Next, we come to Epialtidae, the kelp crabs, a large and diverse family of spider crabs that present some intriguing complexities. Epialtidae species are typically robust, often sporting spiny or knobbly carapaces that give them a rugged appearance. Many members engage extensively in the decorating behaviour that is common among spider crabs, using algae, sponges, and other organisms. However, recent phylogenetic studies have shown that Epialtidae is paraphyletic, meaning the family as currently defined does not include all descendants from a common ancestor. This complicates understanding their evolutionary relationships and means taxonomic revisions are likely in the near future. Members of Epialtidae inhabit a wide range of marine environments, from shallow coastal waters to deep continental shelves, demonstrating impressive ecological versatility. For example, the portly spider crab, Labinia imaginata, is a robust species common in estuaries and coastal waters of the western Atlantic. Its relatively bulky body and extensive decoration help it blend into seaweed and debris-laden habitats. Another striking example is the cryptic kelp crab, Pugetia richii, found along the Pacific coast of North America. It is closely associated with kelp forests, where it feeds primarily on algae and uses the dense kelp canopy for protection. These species illustrate the remarkable range of forms and lifestyles within Epialtidae, from heavy-bodied estuarine crabs to agile kelp specialists. Despite the family's taxonomic uncertainties, Epialtidae remains a key group exemplifying the evolutionary experimentation and ecological diversity of spider crabs. Finally, we arrive at Mithracidae, a diverse family of spider crabs that, like the kelp crabs, has undergone recent taxonomic revisions. Mithracidae species are typically medium-sized, with a sturdy, often somewhat flattened carapace and moderately long legs. They frequently display vibrant colours and patterns, which can range from mottled browns and greens to bright reds and oranges, helping them blend into coral reefs and rocky habitats. Many Mithracids display moderate decorating behaviour, using algae or encrusting organisms to enhance their camouflage, though this behaviour varies widely among species. Ecologically, members of Mithracidae are mostly found in tropical to subtropical coastal waters, often associated with coral reefs, mangroves, and seagrass beds. Their diets are varied, including algae, detritus, and small invertebrates, highlighting their role as both grazers and scavengers. Two well-known examples exemplify the family's diversity. The West Indian spider crab, Mithrax spinicissimus, is a robust, spiny species common in the Caribbean, often found on reefs and rocky substrates. Its spiny armour and cryptic coloration help it blend into its environments and deter predators. Meanwhile, the coral clinging crab, Mithraculus sculptus, is smaller and frequently found living in close association with corals and sea fans, where it feeds on algae and benefits from the protection offered by its host. Taxonomic studies have clarified Mithracidae's boundaries, distinguishing it from closely related groups like Epialtidae, confirming it as a distinct and ecologically important lineage within spider crabs. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of spider crabs. From shallow coral reefs to the mysterious depths of the continental slope, these crabs are more than just masters of disguise. They're a diverse and adaptable lineage shaped by millions of years of evolution, specialized behaviors, and remarkable ecological roles. While many crustaceans show incredible variety, spider crabs stand out for their unique blend of camouflage, morphology, and habitat versatility. Their stories remind us how life can innovate to survive in some of the ocean's most complex environments. So, if this video sparked your curiosity, don't let it stop here. Share it, talk about it, and keep learning. There's still so much to discover about the world's rare and remarkable species. And the more we understand, the better chance we have of protecting them. Thanks for watching. If there's another fascinating species you'd like to learn more about, let me know in the comments below.